All right, welcome to the psoas release video. So we're gonna warm up the hip just a little bit before we start stretching and releasing. So first hug your right knee in, stretch your left leg out along the floor. Then change sides, hug your left knee in, stretch your right leg out along the floor. Change legs, hug right knee in, stretch left leg out. Now lift the left heel up a few inches, hold your navel into the front of the spine, and stretch the right arm back. Then change sides. Change sides. Let's get a nice rhythm going with your breath so you don't have to move exactly with me. See if you can stretch the extended leg further out and closer towards the floor. Okay, good. Now we're going to do one stretch that is a great stretch to help to open your hip so that we can open up and prepare for a deep psoas release. So let's start with Supta Padangusthasana 2. Take your right leg straight up in the strap and stretch your left leg out along the floor. Take both sides of the strap into your right hand, descend through the left thigh and stretch through the left foot as you open your right leg off to the right. So think of the left foot like it's anchoring into a wall as the right thigh turns out and you stretch to the inner right foot. And then lengthen from the inner leg out towards the big toe. Then bring the leg back up and change legs. Take the left leg up in the strap, stretch the right leg out, and slowly start to open the leg to the left. Then bring your leg back up and unstrap your foot. Take your block, lift your hips up, slide the block underneath the sacrum, and let's just take it on the medium height. Adjust the hips, balance the hips on the block. Then without the hips twisting, keep the middle tailbone rooted down, top of the tailbone reaching down as you start to stretch the right leg out. Then visualize the psoas lengthening from the inner leg down through the inner knee into the big toe. Keep your navel in and your lower back long to help stretch. So you want to think of that muscle, I'll represent it with this strap right now, like where it attaches onto the inner leg and goes through the hip up into your lower back. So this is the psoas here. And when we're releasing the psoas, if we keep what we do with the lumbar spine affects if the psoas is being pulled taut or not. Then rebend the right knee and stretch the left leg out. Try not to let the pelvis twist, because if the psoas and hip flexors are very tight, they'll just pull the pelvis instead of getting them to stretch nice and even. So you hold the pelvis, lumbar spine in position, and then you see if you can stretch the leg without them getting yanked. When they get yanked, you just avoid the stretch there and you borrow from other muscles. So this is why we also go for like less range of motion initially, to make sure that we're really isolating and getting the stretch in the right place. Then rebend your knee and lift your hips up. Move the block to the side and let your back release. Take the feet to the width of the mat. Let the knees fall over to the right. Now, if possible, cross the left ankle on the outside of the right knee. And stretch from the hip down into the knee. Back to center. Change sides. Take the knees over to the right. Take the right heel onto the outside of the left knee and stretch from the hip down into the knee. Lengthen through the low back. Back to center. Roll over to your left side and come up. All right, let's do our final stretch for the psoas, which is the big ticket item here. So for this one, we're going to do less big range of motion and more isolating for the first one, and then big range of motion for the second one. So I've taken my left foot over to the left a little, so my left thigh is internally rotated. My right foot over to the right a little, so I have a nice steady base. Then I stack my hip over my knee and I move the buttock towards the back of the knee. I firm down as I draw my belly in, so that it starts to pull the psoas. Then I take the left arm forward and I raise the arm up and I visualize like I'm pulling all the connections of the tissues of the fascia through the reach of the fingers and down through the knee at the same time. I'm lifting through the skull, the back of the skull, top of the skull, so the spine is pulling longer too. Good. Now slowly bring your arm down and release the pull. Let's change legs. So curl your right toes under. Take the right foot to the right so the thigh is internally rotated. Have a nice steady base here. Move the buttock towards the back of the knee, navel in. Take your arm forward. Pull your spine tall. And as you push down through the shin, navel in, buttock down, raise your arm up. Now visualize the tension on the inner hip being pulled long to the reach of the finger. And slowly bring your arm back down and release. Okay, good. So this one is more for the quadriceps, but also can get into the psoas. So with the hands down, bring your heel towards your buttock and drag the top of the kneecap down and away from you as you pull your hips towards your right heel. If you have the flexibility to, draw your belly up, open your chest. You might feel the stretch coming here for the psoas as you stretch your quads. If you don't feel much stretch and you have the flexibility to, you could lift up, bind and grab your foot, and then stretch again. You might feel a deeper stretch this time. And now, instead of opening your chest to the side, I want you to turn the chest towards the floor. And this dimension of movement helps me to get more into the psoas. You don't have to bind the foot. If you're feeling it in the last one, that's fine. You just stay there. Release the foot, and let's change sides now. Left foot forward. Right knee down. So this can be a big stretch for some people. You can stay here, or you can bring the heel towards the butt, drag the knee down. As you drag the hips forward, you'll feel the pull. Breathe into that, stay there, or reach back with your hand, bind, and then turn your chest towards the floor again as you stretch. This is one of my top 5 favorite yoga stretches to do. It feels so good, and I hold so much tension there on the front inner hip. I really like to do this pose every time I practice. And I always like to do this before I do my back bends because I feel so much more freedom in my spine and in my lower back after I do these stretches. This is like really good maintenance work that I practice regularly. Okay, release that. And then you can just sit for a moment and see how good it feels at the front of your hips. Feel like the energy moving through you is supposed to be where the gateway of energy is, up through the spine, through the hips. So you might feel that you feel a release of tension, energy in your body. I hope you feel good after releasing your psoas. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button.